So,
okay. So
any questions?
Any questions? Yes.
In what sphere did you decide to be an entrepreneur? I mean, what?
I didn't decide it yet, you know. I'm just concentrating on feeling how should I, because this is the trick. Most of the people, or you also heard this line that show me a miracle and I believe that they exist, and then believe that they exist and you will see a miracle. So that's the same thing. If you want to be this identity, to become identity of entrepreneur, it's not like that you are your old identity working in a bank, in a job, and then somehow one day, like magically, you become an entrepreneur. It's you start feeling like it, you start doing what they do. For example, for me, I have no idea what entrepreneur is because it's a new identity for me. For me, it's very new. So I'm just starting imagining what it could be like. And I was like, okay, so then I'm open-minded. I go to retreats like that. Yes, I talk to people. I want to have friends from all over the world. I want to be that kind of entrepreneur, not local. I want to be like traveling people. And that's what I'm starting doing. I'm kind of tapping into my new identity. And still, it's quite new to me. But I'm just, faking it a little bit and tapping into it, and I'm 100% sure that this will come to me, because at that point, now I still don't know what business I will do. Now I'm doing lectures, and definitely I have ideas with that, but that's just a part. That's kind of my hobby, and I want to use it. I want to use the identity that I've become to make more better things to life, because it's just a part. You change your personality, then you can serve the world. So I have no idea what I will do.
Sounds like you have lots of ideas.
I have a lot of ideas, but I don't know how it will work out. But I'm 100% sure that there won't be a steady way. It can be like a lot of things, just all the time. Yes.
One question. You spoke about one important thing about identity and about acquiring new identity.
Yes.
And you mentioned also that you've been to many meditation and other kind of stuff, things. What about no identity? What about staying in no identity?
I've tried.
Have you heard of that?
Yes, sure.
Sorry, we need to repeat. The question is that our speaker is seeking for new identities. What about no identity?
Yes, so I've been to many meditation camps and retreats, and I've heard this for a few years, and I was contemplating it and trying to live it. But at least for me, actually it was just a part, a stage. And then when you become empty enough, then you can just acquire a new identity that you want to become. Because first of all, you have to get rid of the old identity that is very limited. And that is very good when you assume that you're not your thoughts, you're not your identity, you're not anything that you think you are. That means no identity, but that's a stage, for me at least. And then after this stage, you actualize what you learn and what you've become with no identity, and you start just building, creating new one out of all the possibilities that are. So for me, it's like this.
But if there is no identity, then who is the new creator?
So that's consciousness. That's consciousness that we are. It's consciousness. It's like creation is infinite. It's infinite. It's there is no one place in the world, and that there is no creation at all. Yes, it's everywhere. Just creation, destruction, creation. So if we're in this motion of creation, so it's very nice to create things that excite you, and it happens to be that things that excite you always gives the best to the world, for all of us.
In Game of Thrones language, a girl is ready. Were there other questions?
Yes. You just said that it's necessary to get rid of your old identity to find a new one. is it possible just to develop your identity or upgrade it so that you're
Yeah,
updated?
it's just for the lack of words. It's not get rid of the old identity. It's just to understand that we cannot change. You know, it's the biggest lie in the world that a person is it is as it is, and you will never change. But it's totally a lie, because I've changed like 10 times or more, and there are so many people who changed like 360 degrees in their lives, like few times like that. So it's just for the lack of words. It's always development, not just getting rid and then bringing something different.
Another question.
We have like.
Okay.
When you were being brutally honest with yourself and looking at yourself in the mirror, as you like to say, what was your process for even just getting to the place where you knew you were not being honest with yourself?
The question is, regarding the slide and the point about being brutally honest with yourself, how do you get to the point where you realize that you're not being fully honest with yourself, so therefore you have to force yourself to be fully honest?
It's not like forcing yourself.
Okay.
It is like when you acknowledge that you are not honest with yourself. This is honesty. So being not honest with yourself and with self-observation, observing that you are not honest with yourself, that's honesty. And it has a lot of layers, and you can go deeper and deeper. But it's a process. If you have this kind of intention, it's not very easy at most of the times, because you have a lot of thoughts that you consider negative. So it's very inconvenient to acknowledge that you have those thoughts and that you are greedy, for example. You know, it's very inconvenient. But if you have this wish to change, and if you have this wish to be honest with yourself, because you know, if you will be lying to yourself, so what's the point in living? Yes. So if you have this intention, so step by step you overcome this this uncomfortable feeling. You get used to it, and then after some time you become excited. For example, for me now, when I find something that is negative, that I consider negative, I'm excited about it because I found it. Because I found it, and now I can change it. Because until I don't see it, I cannot change it. That was the same that you told yesterday, Lobo, about money. That when you found that you were like very surprised that those rich people, they're good people. So that was, you know, you became excited that you knew that you saw that.
That's absolutely true.
That you saw that.
I didn't realize the problem that I had.
Yes. And to see the things in yourself, your living quality, that's a very good thing. For me now, it's exciting. At first, of course, it wasn't so easy, but I had a very big intention to change. I had a very big intention to change and be happy.
More questions?
Yes, one question. What was the reaction of your friends, family, when you decided to change your mind, quit the bank, and how did you deal with those, I assume, negative reactions?
So actually, as you can imagine, the reaction was not so supportive. But I had a very good situation, because at that time I didn't have family, I didn't have a loan, a house, anything. I had a lot of money in my bank account. And I wasn't dependent on anybody. I was free to make this decision. I just had to free my mind, and when I freed my mind, then I made this decision. And then some time. For my it was at first, she didn't tell to anybody for a year or something. but she couldn't say anything, because I wasn't dependent. I wasn't dependent on anybody. And after some time, everybody started recognizing. And after even more time, then they started to, you know, admire me and say that, oh my God, you really inspire me. You are like so brave, you know. It's just the time span. And if you are very like strong in your decision, Yeah, and then you just don't listen for some time. And after some time, definitely it will be a shift. Or those people will leave your life, which is not a bad thing because you're in different paradigms already. So anyways, they cannot give you anything useful. And but most of the time people change when you're convinced in yourself. After some time, they just go to your side, if I could say that.
Do you ever get pushback? You give these lectures, you talk to a lot of people about these ideas. Do you ever
Yes.
get people that maybe they don't realize it, but they're people of what you're actually telling people that you can be anything?
Yes.
And that sounds glorious, but it also, that's pretty scary. That's
Pretty
a lot
scary,
of
yes.
responsibility.
Yes.
And let me jump in and just say, I have my life's goal, but I sort of have a identity goal, if you will. And that is, I want to out Rick Rule. And
Okay.
and this requires some redesign of ways of being and a lot of things to do. And I never framed the process the way you have in these slides. This is very useful distillation, choice of words, and it will help me. And I appreciate it. I'm thankful. But so I'm thinking, the new reality is Uber ruled at the bottom. But that's a really big goal. I mean, it's intimidating
It is.
to think I can do more, better, faster than Rick
It
ruled.
is. It's the same as we are talking, like freedom and responsibility. Yes, if you have like absolute freedom, you have absolute responsibility for all the choices you make. So it is intimidating, but if like most of the time people that start changing, they're in a very bad situation. At that time, you're ready. You're ready to change. You're living so badly with yourself, like you're having such bad states of mind, and that you will do anything just to feel better. Yes, and then you are ready to change, and you start embracing these concepts like step by step. It's never like from here to there. It's impossible. For me, it was like 5 years. And I had a very close, very negative mindset because I grew in a very negative environment. My father was alcoholic, and that's an environment that shapes your mind like that you're all the time in stress, all the time just seeing the risks. You have no joy for life. You don't see possibilities. Mindset is totally closed up and in pain, a lot in pain. So for me, it was like 5 years just to becoming a normal person, that people who live in normal families, that they start from that point. But I had a huge contrast. That's why I can learn much quicker. I have a huge contrast. That's how I use it to my benefit. So it's always step by step. But when you don't want any responsibilities, you're not happy anyway. You're not happy anyway. So then you just might try something, and then you try, and then you see if something works. Okay, I'm a little bit happier. Something's better, yeah. And then you try another thing, and that's what was for me, and that's I believe for everybody. When I say that you can become anything you like, it's just a starting point, a motivation point. But I believe that the more there are examples like me, like I didn't hear this talk previously, but I will definitely listen to it, where there's real examples of people that are doing that. It's the same. I don't know if you heard, but there was this experiment with blue sun, this little jumping bugs. Oh, anyways, little jumping bugs. So they were in a jar, and they the jar closed, and then they couldn't, and then nobody would jump out. But if like Annie jumps out, it's a leap for everybody. Like that's the whole point. If you change yourself, that's the leap for everybody that's around you, everybody that you can touch. So they get this permission slip. They get permission slip that you can become anything you want. So that's my mission.
Any more questions? Well, thank you very much. Yes.